The waters that ran beneath this town attracted visitors seeking a cure for all of their ailments. Those seeking the water's healing powers needed a place to stay, and this massive building provided a luxury oasis. But the energy the visitors and the water left behind has left this now abandoned structure crawling with spirits. This week's episode is The Ghosts of the Baker Hotel. A bump in the night, your heart fills with dread. Probably a murderer who wants you dead. It could be a ghost, a demon, or worse. Perhaps you're the victim of a witch's curse. It's hopeless, you're doomed. You'd call a priest if you could. You'd rather just listen to who? Sinisterhood.
Hi, Heather. You're on Skype. We're not sitting across from each other like normal.
This is a Sinisterhood first, you guys.
It is.
Every single episode we've been in the same room, and now the coronavirus.
Episode 91. I think this is 91. So. The coronavirus finally did it.
It split us apart.
Dallas was placed on a shelter in place, and that means we can't leave our house. Or although I can't leave my house. Heather stays, the studio's at her house.
Arguably, Sinisterhood is an essential business. I could make an argument, but I don't want to have to go bail Christy out of jail.
That's true.
If she gets taken in. I would also like to share with everyone that yesterday when we were trying to test it, I put the laptop where Christy normally sits in the office and then just started to cry on Skype because I missed her so much.
It is. So I miss you too.
I know. If you guys are out there and you miss your best friends or your coworkers or your family, you are not alone. We miss each other. And we see each other every week. I told her Monday didn't seem like Monday because she didn't come over.
It doesn't. And we've figured out how to record, but if the audio sounds a little different on my end, then it's because I'm in our study, which is a fancy thing that we call our guest room that has a computer in it. But that's where I'm recording from. So, but I think it'll sound pretty good. And from what we've heard, people are just wanting us to put out content. So hopefully everyone's a little forgiving in these times.
I think so. I think us on Skype is better than not us at all. So it'll work out totally. And we were just talking about not wearing pants the last couple of days.
Yeah. And I currently do not have a bra on.
Oh, feels good, man.
If I go to your house, I'd put on a bra because I put on bras when I leave the house because I don't want to get arrested like Sue Ellen Minsky.
Sue Ellen Minsky, that's right. The O'Hare candy bar fortune.
Yes.
You just wear it as a top. I'm wearing a True & Co bra, which is almost like not wearing a bra. It's so comfortable, but it doesn't have like a nippy cover. And so I have to be careful. I walk the dogs in a tank top and a True & Co bra and probably going to get some next door posts about me.
You know what? If your nips, we need some different news. So I hope your nips make the news so we can get something else in our feed.
There was enough people out there walking their dogs and walking around with their kids and stuff. So I was spotted. I was seen. The hard nip bandit was, I was captured, I'm sure.
Was everyone giving each other ample distance?
You know what? Normally it seems rude whenever you cross the street to avoid someone on the sidewalk. Right. But now I was just I thought it was very thoughtful that people were doing that.
Good. I'm glad they were. We were outside earlier and there were a lot more people out in our neighborhood, but everyone was kind of on opposite ends. So no one really had to cross paths. But we did see our neighbors for the first time. They're the ones that do, like they'll pickle things and make jams and bring us. And he was like, I've been making some homemade bread. I'll leave some on y'all's porch. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't had bread in 2 weeks because everybody's been out. I'm so thank you so much.
That's so nice.
I know.
That is one of the things I got 2 loaves of gluten-free bread because I figured that's, I have to have the special kind of bread, so I can't just go and get like Mrs. Baird's. And so I froze it. I froze 1 loaf and I have half a loaf left. I'm trying to ration it.
That's smart. Yep, you got to ration.
And some people are not. Paris.
Uh-oh.
He almost used all the Dijon mustard. And he's like, we'll just order some from Amazon. I was like, the only Dijon I could find that's Prime on Amazon was a box of 200 packets. And I'm not going to order that.
What you do is order all the packets, and then you put the box in front of him and said, okay, get to work. And you make him rip them all open and squeeze them into your bottle that you have in your fridge.
Refill it.
That's the only way he can make this right.
Exactly. I'll tell him. I'm going to go in there and tell him.
Well, when all this is over and done with, I'd like to go visit the place that we're going to be discussing today.
I almost drove out there, and it was right as they were saying, everything is closed, don't go anywhere. Plus, it's it's like closed down. But the city looks so cute. They've done a ton of renovation in the downtown. It looks like a fun place to visit with restaurants and diners and bakeries and shops. So
yeah, it's a cute little small Texas town. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about an hour and a half northwest. Is it northwest?
It's almost like due east. It's like east and then totally a little bit north. I'm sorry, west. It's west and a little bit north. Oh, it is
west. Okay. Yeah, it's in Mineral Wells, which is about an hour and a half from Dallas. And we're going to be talking about the Baker Hotel, which
the rent, it looks fancy.
It does look fancy. It's gigantic.
It's huge.
It's very large. This was a listener suggestion also.
Yes. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm Christy.
I'm Heather.
And let's get into it. In 1877, James Lynch and his wife Armanda brought their family and 50 head of livestock from Denison, Texas, a small town north of Dallas, to the unsettled area that would become Mineral Wells. The Lynches purchased 80 acres of land for $240, a hefty sum during that time. The area they settled in was not quite close enough to any reliable water source, the nearby Brazos River. For a few years, they suffered with the distance between themselves and the water, until in 1880, when Mr. Lynch made a deal with a well driller. In exchange for some of the family oxen, the driller drilled down into the family's land until he struck water.
That's pretty lucky. There's land just right underneath your feet. I guess we learned that from Frankenstein. You know, there's wells. There's water at the bottom of the well.
Yep. You said there's land under your feet. You mean water?
There's water under your feet.
Because there's always land under our feet.
I guess.
Well, unless you're flying.
Unless you're doing a handstand.
Oh, that's true. Then it's under your hands. Yeah.
Exactly.
I like the bartering aspect of this because I've heard a lot of people right now are bartering things. They have like a lot of, I know some people that have like gardens. So they're like, hey, if anybody needs some fresh veggies and you want to trade me some wine or something, I think we should go back to the days of bartering. I'm going to say it right now.
I think so too, because I accidentally I thought I was ordering 6 boxes of pasta off of Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it was 12. And apparently, I hit the button twice.
Oh, I've done that.
No, I have 24 boxes of cauliflower pasta.
You meant to order 6 and you have 24?
I meant to order 6. It turns out the package was 12, and it turns out I hit it twice. So I have
dang.
Paris goes, what is that on the porch? I said, I think it's more pasta. And he's like, the whole cabinet's full. And I was like, I know.
It's cauliflower pasta?
Yeah, so it's gluten-free, so it's healthy.
I'll take some of that off your hands.
Okay, I'll bring it over. There's so much of it. I don't have anywhere to put it.
I'm trying to not eat like actual carby pasta. So
this is good. It's a lot of fiber.
Carb. Yeah.
A lot of fiber.
I like that. When we were in elementary school, I think it was 3rd grade, we had a week where we learned about bartering. Cool. we brought things and we bartered with other classmates. So you could bring like toys that you had at home that you didn't want anymore and stuff. And then you traded with your classmates. And I remember I got some little finger puppets from a guy named fun. Dale.
Yeah, Dale. You know what? Dale sounds like the kind of guy that sells finger puppets.
Dale Baird. His parents own Baird's Donuts.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Small world. Well, I was going to say that my mom was offering, she goes, I'll trade you some chicken for some toilet paper. I was like, do you need toilet paper? She's like, well, no, but I just have a lot of chicken. And I was like, what are you asking? And I would say I have a reasonable amount of toilet paper. I just like did my Amazon subscribe and save like right before. And it just so happened it came like maybe end of February. And I was like, well, I kind of need to ration it. She's like,
oh, never mind then. I'll just keep the chicken. I was like, okay. But
How is she doing? How's Nancy doing?
She's holding up. She said that she's like, normally I just kind of stay at home. She comes over on Wednesdays to my house to take care of the dogs and clean up. So I've had to do my own laundry and my own dishes, and that's been a whole deal. But she's like, mostly I don't mind staying home alone, but I don't have the option. So she's like, normally she'd just be like, oh, me and my friend are going to go to the mall, or we'll go to the movies, or, whatever. And now she can't even go to the chiropractor or the doctor. So for just sort of like maintenance stuff like that, it takes, so she's like not struggling staying at home. She doesn't mind that, but she's struggling with having the option to leave if she wants. I get that.
Because there are a lot of days where like, I won't leave the house, but when you know you can't leave the house, that's a different thing.
It's definitely a weird mindset. I was brushing my teeth last night and I thought, okay, when I'm driving in the morning, and I was like, I don't get to drive into work. Huh. And it's like weird because I'm still working just as much as I would otherwise, like we log in, in the same time and we have calls and everything. But I thought I kind of missed rush hour. That's stupid. It's like, just normalcy, I guess.
Ella and I took a nice drive. She just kept saying, I want to go in the car. I want to go in the car yesterday. So loaded her up and we drove around and the weather was so nice. It was like cool and overcast and breezy. We just listened to the Avett Brothers and drove around and it was very nice to be in the car.
I highly recommend driving to Oak Cliff where they have the peacocks roaming free.
Ooh, we should do that.
We were just driving around and Paris was like, oh, I've never been to the zoo. And I said, well, it's not open. He goes, we can drive by it. And we just happened upon this neighborhood. And I said, stop the car. And there was just a peacock. And we were like, it's so beautiful. It's so majestic. And then it just goes, ah!
Yeah, they can be mean. There's a peacock that lives at a little school over here in our neighborhood. They have like a little garden and everything, and there's bunnies and chickens and a peacock that roams around.
Oh, it's crazy. It.
Yeah. The Lynches were excited to have close access to water and began drinking from the generous source. Initially, however, they were skeptical. The water tasted strange, not the same as the water that ran clear in the Brazos. But after only a few days of drinking the water, something interesting began to happen. They began to feel whole and healed. Both Mr. and Mrs. Lynch had suffered from rheumatism, marked by pain and inflammation of the joints and fibrous tissues. After mere days of drinking the water, the Lynches realized, in fact, that their condition was completely cured.
The water is chunky. It's chunky. It's chunky water.
I used to live in Lubbock, and they are not known for good drinking water. It all tastes like well water.
Ugh.
And yeah, like you have to drink a lot of bottled water. There's certain types of water that I can't drink. I'm curious what this water tastes like.
I think, and of course we can't because maybe we'll do like a taste test for like the Patreon or something, but they sell this at Whole Foods.
Oh, it is at Whole Foods?
The mineral wells at Whole Foods. And so I was going to go get it, but we're not allowed to go. So, yeah. I mean, I could, but I'm like, it's
not essential. I'm trying to only leave. Well, I haven't left, but like, I'm not even ordering stuff from Amazon unless like I think it's essential because I know those people are so overworked right now. Yeah. I'm like, I can wait on my yoga pants. Word spread fast in the small town, and soon locals and out-of-towners alike were lined up to try some of Mr. Lynch's magic healing water. However, because the well was only drilled for family use, producing only about 100 gallons a day, Mr. Lynch vetted visitors and had them swear and declare that they were actually sick and in need of the water's powers. Only a year after the well was initially drilled, the Lynch family was fielding visits from nearly 3,000 guests per day. With so many new people in town over the next year, Mr. Lynch declared himself the mayor, and the town of Mineral Wells was officially born. Well, I want to declare myself something.
I declare I'm a mayor.
And, I mean, who's going to argue with you? They're like, a mayor? What is that? Well, it's an elected official I just made up.
No one elected you. You still want to drink this water? How bad does your leg hurt?
There you go.
Who's mayor now? You.
Mr. Lynch was not the only source of water in town. William Wiggins, known as Uncle Billy, drilled his own well in 1881 as the Lynch well was gaining in popularity. A local, quote, crazy woman who had set up camp beside the well would ask passerbys to fill up her bucket for use. Upon drinking the water, her crazy attributes seemed to subside. Uncle Billy soon created a resort around his water production called the Crazy Water Retirement Hotel. This led locals to calling it the Crazy Lady Well. Later, the name was shortened to the Crazy Well. Soon, the Crazy Water Company was created, set up shop, and began selling the crazy water.
Uncle Billy sounds like the type.
Yeah, Uncle Billy sounds real fun. This also reminds me of Cocoon.
What happens in Cocoon?
Have you seen Cocoon?
I remember there's a movie, I think it's Say Anything. He brings Cocoon to watch at the nursing home. And the girl's like, you can't watch that here. I think that's Say Anything, but I've never seen it. I've only heard reference to it.
It's very good. And it is about I believe they're a retirement community. It may be a nursing home, but it's
aliens.
It is. It's this alien and pool, and this water gets discovered, or actually, I don't remember how, but these alien eggs get discovered, and they put them in this pool at this retirement community, and then the old people get in the pool and soon realize that it's like the eternal youth.
It's like mineral wells.
Yeah, it's like rejuvenating them and make them young again and all this stuff, and it's very sweet. It's also sad at times. Like all movies from the 80s that involved aliens. It's around the same time. I think Cocoon and E.T. were about around the same time.
And like, what's the one, 2001 A Space Odyssey? I feel like they were capitalizing Alien and Aliens. The 80s were Predator. They were capitalizing on the alien thing in the
Predator's
80s.
so good. Yeah. I just found out yesterday because I made a Close Encounters of the Third Kind reference, and Tommy has never seen it.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking. Oh, yeah. I haven't probably... I don't think I've
seen Close Encounters. Oh my gosh, with Richard Dreyfuss, it's so good.
I do like Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh,
he's in What About Bob?
He is one of my all-time favorite movies.
So good.
What happened to Gil? We ate him. I might have to watch that. I've been making a list of movies that I want to watch. Even though we have nothing to do but stay at home, when you have a child, all the things that you are like, you know what, I'm going to do that. I'm going to clean out my closet. You know what? I'm going to practice my hand lettering. It's like, no, I'm going to just clean all day. And then at the end of the night, I'm just going to zone out in front of the TV because I'm so tired. Started watching Tiger King today, by the way. If you're not watching it, you got to start. It is wild.
I'll watch it because I read the Texas Monthly article when I was waiting for my gyno last year. And I was riveted. It's riveting.
Tommy he's not watching it, but he's like, I'm familiar with the story. It is crazy. Joe Exotic is a character.
Quite a character.
Quite a character, yes.
Well, I read a thing that said this self-isolation time is fine to just rest and do nothing. It's fine. You don't have to, it was like, you don't have to start a podcast. You don't have to write the next great novel. You don't have to become a painter or learn piano or learn Spanish. It's fine to rest. There's nothing wrong with resting.
There is a lot of pressure, I think, people feel to be productive because they're not in their normal routine and they get stir crazy. So
like, I have free time, so I'm going to like do this crazy thing. It's like, just watch TV. I downloaded a game called Wordscapes, and you just match little letters. It's like a little crossword puzzle.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, I'm every night I play Candy Crush. So sometimes it's nice just to do mindless bubblegum for the brain stuff.
Turn it off.
Mineral Wells is located over a series of natural aquifers that run beneath the entire town. The magical water, or crazy water, is in fact not magical at all. Rather, the water is naturally infused with minerals, including lithium. The Crazy Water Company still produces its water today. The bottles have numbers ranging from 1 to 4. The higher the number, the higher the mineral content. So a number 1 water is nearly pure water, and a number 3 water includes over 1,300 dissolved solids, giving it a metallic taste. According to the owner of Famous Mineral Water Co., Carol Elder, who produces bottled Crazy Water, Mineral Wells...
Crazy Water number 4 is one of the strongest bottled mineral waters in the world.
It includes calcium, magnesium, potassium, zinc, silica, and lithium. Lithium is known to have a calming effect, and some studies have shown lower suicide rates in areas where there is more lithium in the drinking water.
There's nothing wrong with dosing the citizens. It'll calm you down a little bit.
Hey, to me, this is like taking some melatonin at night or something like that. Also, Crazy Water number 4 is very close to Mambo number 5. And I think they need to capitalize on that marketing
They need
strategy.
to have crazy water number 5. And then they're just like, a little bit of calcium in my life, some magnesium by my side,
Yeah.
little bit of potassium in my face. Yes. I think they're missing out, truly.
We're going to contact Carol Elder. I feel like we have an N because we're already Texans. So she's
We're right
going to.
close.
Yes, she's going to listen to us. And this is going to skyrocket. Now's
We're
the time.
neighbors.
Everyone's at home. They all need water. Water's a staple we all need.
Exactly. It's essential.
Everyone's stressed out.
It's essential.
This is a water that could calm everyone down.
I think crazy water will save the day. And we'll cure it. But I really do want to get one of each of these waters, and me and you do like a taste test.
We should. Yeah, for sure. Soon the whole world wanted to get its hands on some of the magical crazy water of Mineral Wells. This led to an influx of out-of-town visitors and a boom of growth for the town. By 1900, Mineral Wells was known as the nation's great health resort. Although the town was a permanent home to only 8,000, it fielded over 150,000 visitors per year. For the first 2 decades, visitors stayed in some of the town's hotels and boarding houses. A week's stay at the local establishments cost anywhere from $7 to $10. An even better deal was the water cards that could be purchased at local wells. An all-you-can-drink pass was available for just $1 a week.
I mean, back then, they would take cocaine to fix their sneezing. So, like, if you go, hey, this water will fix that lump on your shoulder, you'd be like, give me the water.
This is very up my alley. When they start building the hotel and all the stuff they offer, and it's just like really like spiritual and holistic and stuff. Back then, I'm sure everyone thought it was voodoo and snake's oil. Or a lot of people, or you thought it was medical, but I love that kind of stuff. That's why when they redo this hotel, if they've got all this stuff in it, I will absolutely go stay there.
Oh, I think we need to do like an Adolphus style, stay there.
We should.
They're supposedly going to have like a whole spa thing and the mineral water where you can bathe in it and stuff.
That's what I want to do. Yeah, that's very up my alley.
You know what? We have to bathe together. It's the last bastion of our friendship.
That is true.
And film it for everyone.
Some are blood brothers. We will be bath brothers, bath sisters.
Bath sisters. But we have to wear 1900 style swimming suits.
Like a cap and the ones like
with flowers.
Yes, a cap with flowers. And then I'm going to wear one like men wore, where you look like you were going to lift a barbell in a circuit, an old timey circus.
1,000 pounds on each side. Yes.
But man, anytime you see which episode was it that we did where we had to look up? Oh, it wasn't. Was it Scar? Did we do something on Scarface?
Oh, we did the St. Valentine's Day Massacre.
Maybe it was that. And there were pictures of those guys in bathing suits. You're like, nothing.
Yes, Al Capone.
Makes someone look less threatening than when they're in one of those bathing suits.
Al Capone's like, you look at my skirt. There's a gun in here.
Yes. If you want to just be like, I can take him. Then just instead of picturing everyone naked, picture everyone in a 1940s bathing suit.
It always had a scoop neck and what's like contrast stitching. So it was black with like white stitching.
Yeah, they were very unflattering. Very unflattering.
Oh, Capone.
Well, soon doctors flocked to the area and opened practices. Their offices eventually transformed into spas, offering a range of services, including baths in the mineral water and other spa services. The most popular hotel of the time was the Crazy Hotel, owned by Dallas businessman Carr P. Collins. It stood at 7 stories, was rebuilt after being burnt down, and blossomed into a hub of life in Mineral Wells. The hotel offered water from its own wells, hosted full orchestras on its rooftop garden, and had a constant stream of visitors in its 200 guest rooms.
Yeah, at this time, this was like the go-to place. You had to go. If you weren't on the rooftop garden watching the orchestra, who even are you?
I know. Back then, it was like, well, we're driving down to Mineral Wells this weekend. You know, they've got a full orchestra on their rooftop garden. It was just the talk of the town. All the neighbors knew where you were going. It's we're kind of reverting back to that right now. Everyone seems to be more friendly with their neighbors right now.
It's true. Waving from afar.
Yes, I got waved to several times on our walk today, and normally nobody gives a shit what I'm doing.
It's true. I was also waved to. Like, how's it going? How are you doing?
Yep.
People were mowing their grass and just waving.
I told Tommy, I hope when all of this is over, some of those things stick. I hope we don't just all go immediately back to our own worlds and phones and distancing, from each other, not social distancing, but like mentally and emotionally distancing.
No, seriously.
I hope some things keep up.
Yeah, some of the relaxing and the connections.
Yes, the connections. Well, not everyone, however, was pleased with the addition of the Crazy Hotel. Locals were unhappy to have such a majestic center of town activity owned by a Dallasite. To fix this, a group of businessmen propositioned a famous Texas hotel magnate, Theodore Brasher Baker, or TB, to build a rival hotel. TB accepted the offer, and on November 22nd, 1929, the self-named Baker Hotel opened its doors.
This sounded like a cabal. They're like, we don't like the Dallas man in our hotel.
They raised a bunch of money amongst themselves and then propositioned Theodore Brasher Baker, which you have to own a lot of hotels if that's your name.
100%. Mr. Baker, which of my hotels will I stay in this weekend?
But it is I'm not going to let some big city cowboy come into our town and think he runs this place.
You slick back haired Dallas boy.
The Crazy Hotel was dwarfed by this new monument, with the Baker Hotel standing nearly twice as high. That was no accident, as the vindictive businessman purposely chose 14 stories in order to double the size of the Crazy Hotel. At a cost of $1.2 million, the hotel cost a pretty penny, but the sheer volume of guests it brought in made Baker's investment well worth it. He went to a... What's that?
So it was a pretty hotel.
It is, yeah. He also went to a spa hotel in Arizona that was doing really well and basically copied the entire look of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And brought it back here.
Indeed, the Spanish outside. I'm going to do this ballroom. We're going to have pretty much. Yeah. No, what they say in the business world, don't reinvent the wheel. Steal it from Arizona.
I like that. The Baker was a sight to behold. Behind its Spanish Renaissance facade was a whopping 450 guest rooms. It also housed one full floor dedicated to the healing powers of the mineral waters where guests could take full immersion mineral baths. The hotel's vast dining room, the Brazos Room, featured rose-glass mirrors where women could see themselves literally
through rose-colored glasses
in their best light. Another major feature was the Olympic-sized swimming pool filled with the local mineral water. Soon the whole town turned to the Baker for its social and luxury spa needs. However, the Crazy Hotel didn't take this competition lying down. Rather, it installed an enormous sign over Highway 281 that said,
"Welcome to Mineral Wells, the home of crazy." Which, by the way, I learned from the Mineral Wells Visitors Bureau Instagram page that they have recently redone this sign in like beautiful neon. So now I really, really want to go to Mineral Wells and see it.
Does it still say home of the crazy?
Oh, indeed. Indeed it does. They did not rephrase it. There's no rebranding. They just highlighted what it already said.
They're leaning in. I appreciate that.
Very hard, yes.
The Baker hosted celebrity guests, including Judy Garland, Roy Rogers, Jean Harlow, and LBJ. It is even rumored that infamous crime couple Bonnie and Clyde stayed at the hotel for a few nights. Supposedly, the criminals smartly removed the carpet from the hallway outside their room so they could hear any law enforcement approaching.
Ah,
Very
did you ever
smart.
do that as a kid? Try to like listen if your parents were coming, if you were doing something you weren't supposed to do?
Oh, all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
I also knew which stairs made the creaks. So if I was going downstairs, I could avoid, stepping on certain things to...
The creak stairs.
Yeah, not that I was ever doing it. I was probably just getting food, honestly. Just getting
Sneaking
donuts. No, I never snuck out of my house. All the bad shit I did, I never snuck out of my house.
I never snuck out on my own, but one time Shayna was sneaking out, which she often did, and accidentally woke me up because I was on the bottom bunk and I said, take me with you. And she said, no. And I said, I'm going to go wake up mom and dad and rat you. And so she had to take me. And we walk from our house to the and literally they were going to the park to like swing. It wasn't even like they were like doing drugs or spray painting anything or stealing cars. And get all the way to the school, which is probably about maybe a quarter-mile walk. It's not that far, but it's far enough that it's annoying. And I'm like, I have to poop. She was so mad. She was so pissed.
Did she turn back with you, or did you have to go?
First, she told me to just poop out because I was already trying to be cool with the older kid. She's 5 years older than me, and pooping in front of a group of people is a quick way for them to think that you're not cool anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you're like revenge pooping on like a desk of someone or a car, like you're seeking. But this was just a nature calling, and so she walked me back home, and then it was in the sneaking back in that I'm pretty sure our mom woke up. They had to sneak me back in so I could poop, and she wasn't able to sneak back out, and I ruined my bowels once again. Ruined everything.
Dang! Once again, your bowels ruined the party. Did your mom catch y'all when you were coming back in?
Oh yeah.
Did she get mad?
She's just like, why did you? Please don't sneak out. It wakes me up in the night. Because I think they knew at the end of the day we were like good kids and we weren't out. Shannon wasn't out doing drugs or stealing cars or anything. She was just sneaking out, hanging out with her friends or whatever.
It's just the thrill of getting to sneak out.
Exactly. Of being out at 3 o'clock in the morning, which now I think, oh my God, I don't even want to be at a public park at 3 a.m., much less a 13 or 14-year-old.
That's what scares me now. I mean, that was a long time ago, but I'm like,
True.
I would not want my 13-year-old to be anywhere at 3 a.m.
No, except for
in our neighborhood.
Locked in the house.
Yes, locked in her bedroom under lock and key. Despite the roster of famous guests, the Baker's Hotel popularity was unfortunately short-lived. The mid-1930s brought federal regulation of medical advertising, meaning the water companies were no longer able to market their waters as a cure-all for every ailment. With the discovery of penicillin and other antibiotics, doctors began treating illnesses with more than just water. Suddenly, the massive numbers of visitors dwindled to nothing. The increase in gas prices during the rationing of World War II also made day trips to mineral wells from Dallas, about an hour-and-a-half drive, nearly impossible.
Yeah, for a while there in the early 1900s, you could just say, if you put a blow dryer up your nose, it'll cure coronavirus and you wouldn't get in trouble. And now you very quickly get shut down by the FTC, the FDA, pretty much anybody. If you try to say, this sucker will make you lose 90 pounds, they'll shut you down pretty quick.
A lot of stuff has to say not FDA approved. Can you
Correct.
get away with it by doing that?
Yes,
like a lot of diet stuff will say that.
Yeah, but you still cannot be false and misleading or deceptive because the Federal Trade Commission is over all business ever. And basically that they have a catch-all law that says if you're in business selling anything or goods or services, you cannot be false and misleading and deceptive in your advertising.
Well, as they should.
They can get you. They're the ones that came after like influencers and people on Instagram that were not saying, they would hold up a bottle of tea and be like, this tea changed my life. It's so good. I love it so much. I'm just telling you this is me, not because I'm getting paid, or wouldn't say anything. And now you have to say, this is a sponsored post. This is an ad. So that, because that's false and it's inherently deceptive to say I like a thing and not say, but also I'm getting paid to tell you I like a thing.
Right, right. The Texas Republican and Democratic parties held conventions at the Bakers several times throughout the 1950s, but that was only a temporary bump for the hotel's revenue. In the late 1950s, TB ceded control of the hotel to his nephew Earl, but Earl was no more successful than his uncle in keeping the Baker afloat. Rather than attempt to reinvigorate the hotel himself, Earl promised that if he was not able to sell it by his 70th birthday, he would shutter the hotel forever. No buyer could be found, so Earl finally closed the once glorious establishment on May 31st, 1963.
Boy, that's really a you know when to fold 'em kind of situation. He's just like, I'm done.
Oh.
R.I.P. R.I.P. Kenny Rogers just passed away.
Yeah, he just did.
You know what? Know when to walk away, know when to run, and he knew when to run. Shut it down.
It's like, no thanks, coronavirus.
I'm okay.
I'm gonna peace out.
That song is a fucking jam. I love The Gambler. Sometimes I just sing it. I'm just walking around singing The
song's
Gambler.
great. The song's
so good.
It's a ball buster. It's a banger. It gets everybody pumped up.
Yes.
It's a sing-along.
Yes, it's a sing-along jam. And I feel like it's one of those songs that when I very first heard it, I think I heard a clip of it on like a late night hits of the, hits country classics, by the CD mix set or whatever. And I would always write down the names of songs from those and then go on Napster and download them.
Oh, I remember those commercials. It would just be hours of a box set infomercial of what you could buy.
Motown 1970s. Yes. And then it's like the Temptations and Sam Cooke and you're like, oh, I want to go download all these things. And so that was where I heard it. And then I went and downloaded it on Napster. I'm sure my parents were like, she's downloading illegal music. It's probably that rock and roll. It's Kenny Rogers.
It's the Gambler.
Hell yeah.
It would not stay dark for long, however. Just 2 years later, a consortium of local entrepreneurs purchased the hotel for $375,000 and attempted a revamp. But when the nearby army camp finally closed, it meant no more steady stream of families visiting their enlisted men, and no more business for the baker. And with that, the former hub for celebrities and high-class spa-goers finally shuttered for good in March of 1972.
And there she stands.
There she stands to this day. Well, there the baker sat for decades, a ghastly reminder of the mineral wells it once was, haunted by the ghosts of the town's former greatness. But some folks believe the hotel was haunted by something more.
Ooh.
Even during the hotel's heyday, employees reported unsettling activities. According to Texas Escapes, maids would find glasses with lipstick stains on the rim in rooms that were unoccupied. Employees of an adjacent bank enjoyed a view of the now empty hotel during the 1970s. Attentive bank tellers noticed that the hotel's windows would be open one day and closed the next. While strange, they assumed it was just the hotel's caretaker letting in some fresh air. What they didn't know, however, was that the hotel didn't have a caretaker at that time, according to Texas Escapes.
Yeah, the bank teller said that they actually got out like a piece of like a legal pad and started marking down, like making a graph and a diagram of like, okay, yesterday it was this one and this one and this one. And then when they would come back, it would be changed. But after they started graphing it, it stopped. Like the ghost knew they were being watched.
They got word.
They got wind of it.
Mm-hmm.
Through that little whoosh thing that you do with the bank tellers to get your...
That seems like a good way for a ghost to travel. It's just fast air shooting you somewhere quick.
That's true. I was about to ask probably one of the dumbest questions I've ever asked you, but I'm going to ask it. If there was a human-sized one of those, would you go in it?
Yeah, definitely.
It looks fun. It has to be padded, but it looks kind of cool.
Yeah. As if it was not, I wouldn't want it to be like so tight that it was right. If it was touching like my shoulders or even close, like I would feel like I was being buried alive. But if it was a little larger to where I felt like I had some wiggle room, I'd do it.
Yeah, bigger than a coffin. But with enough padding so that you don't move around. I was thinking in like, say you're leaving the ballpark after a game and your car is parked really far. Instead of a shuttle, you shoot people in pods.
I love it. Yes.
I'd do it.
I'd like a pod from my house to yours.
That would be amazing.
Just pod myself or whatever. That'd be great. Hotel caretakers over the years claim to have also encountered various spirits. Ronnie Walker, the assistant manager of the building, reported that while repairing a fuse box in the hotel on the notoriously haunted 7th floor, he heard footsteps coming up behind him. He told Texas Escapes that the fuse box that controlled the Christmas lights was causing flickering. Once the footsteps approached, Ronnie told the spirit that he meant no harm. After that, Ronnie had no more issues with the lights flickering.
He said, I felt like the spirit was worried that I was messing with stuff, and once I told it I was there to fix it, it stopped messing with my box, my fuse box.
He also said that the footsteps sounded like the person didn't want to bother him, like they were just trying not to be seen. And other psychics have said that too, that the spirits don't really want to be seen. They just kind of want to be left alone and do their own thing, like all of us.
I mean, it's true because it's not like they're going back to like an airport or going back to, a train station. It's a hotel. And not to mention, it's like a relaxing oasis kind of a hotel of like, I'm just here for the mineral baths. Could you not bother me?
When I go, I'm going to haunt a spa. I think that's where I'm going to post up in the afterlife.
Where am I going to haunt? Maybe, I got to think of like a chill place. Maybe, like a buffet in Las Vegas.
Golden Corral? Oh, okay. No, Las Vegas buffet.
A good buffet.
A good one. That's nice.
Yeah. Not that Golden Corral's not good. I'm not here to besmirch the good people of Golden Corral. I spent a lot of time in high school at the Golden Corral.
I went to the Golden Corral when I was pregnant. I was dying for a buffet. And I finally was like, babe, we got to go to the Golden Corral. And it was...
And he's the husband of the year. He's like, yeah, let's go.
It was a shit show.
Oh, it's like if someone took frozen dinners and then heated them up and then scooped them out of the individual portions into a larger serving tray.
It was wild, man. We went on a Sunday where it stupidly after church let out.
Oh,
and it
yeah,
was
that's the worst time.
Packed. I mean, and so packed that you couldn't really even get stuff because it was all out. So I just ended up with like a bunch of waffles and like some vegetables and chicken and stuff.
Chicken and waffles, not bad.
It wasn't.
It's not a bad haul.
But it wasn't
what you wanted.
It wasn't good. No, it was just, the food was not very good that day. But I do love a buffet.
God, I love a buffet.
Oh, buffets are so good. God. There was one in the mall across from where I used to live in Denton when I went to UNT called Old Country Buffet, the OCB.
Are you kidding me?
Have you been?
I didn't know that they had those in Texas. I went in Chicago.
Oh my God, so
they had
good.
them in the serve. Oh, the OCB. I would tear the OCB the fuck up.
Oh, yeah, I did. And their mascot is a bee.
Yes.
And there would be a person that would come around. And if I was there and the bee came out, it was very exciting. And the bee would go around and take pictures with you. It was it's like a fever dream.
Every time we learn something about each other, I'm like, I knew it. I knew we were meant to be. That we both spent extensive time at the Old Country Buffet in college in separate cities.
Wow.
Years apart. Miles apart.
Time is a flat circle.
Doesn't matter. We were there together.
If that isn't proof of time travel and multiverse theory, then I don't know what is, honestly.
That's true. The one thing that brings us all together as humanity is the Old Country Buffet.
It's so good. I do not know if it's still there. The Golden Triangle Mall. If it is, I'm going to take Tommy. Although now that we don't eat meat, it's like, what are we going to eat?
Yeah, that's what
everything's made with bacon fat. Yeah.
And everything is gluten. So I can't have anything in my old days of a buffet. In Austin, there's a place called Wildwood Bakery that does a gluten-free brunch buffet. So I can get like chicken, waffles, all that stuff. Man.
That sounds good. Paranormal investigator Chris Mosley told Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures that
there's been a lot of physical activity
at the Baker Hotel. People have reported
doors slamming. There's footsteps. We have had the experience of being touched and being shoved.
A second paranormal investigator, Chris Green, told the Ghost Adventures crew that
a woman in a white flowing dress went around the corner
and appeared down a long hallway.
These guys were shook.
So, if I'm not mistaken, this was your first brush with Ghost Adventures.
I had to text you. I was like, because I was Googling it and I'm like, I want to just watch something initially just to kind of get my arms around this whole story. And there was a season, it's like an old season. It was from like 2012 episode. I had to buy it on iTunes and then stream it. I was going to
say, I couldn't find it anywhere. Is that how you got it? Okay.
Yeah, I bought it off iTunes and I probably could have, like, because we share my iTunes account for the show. We probably could have watched it. But it is my first experience. Christy 2 years ago did a character showcase where she performed a 5-minute monologue in character and she had on a bandana and like an Affliction t-shirt and she was a ghost hunter. And I told her it was very funny at the time, but I apologize because I did not fully grasp how brilliant it was. Now juxtaposing it and seeing what she was parodying, it'd be like if someone saw Spinal Tap and didn't really like get bands of the 70s.
Right.
Like this was Spinal Tap. It was so good. And so watching the show, the guy, I couldn't figure out my feelings about Zach, the main guy.
Yeah, he's polarizing.
He's polarizing because sometimes I felt, emotionally attached, and other times I was like, oh, I hope a ghost bites his dick off. He's so rude.
That's the only reason I would watch that show. He is an asshole. 100%. He's an asshole.
I don't understand how his teammates don't just like push him down the stairs and be like, a ghost must have pushed him down the stairs.
I did see the other day. I didn't read the article, but because I was going down a Ghost Adventures rabbit hole, somebody that used to be on the show did quit, and the headline was like, "Why Nick really quit the show?" And I'm like, probably because Zach was a dick. all the time. He got
rude.
tired of his bullshit.
In this one, they have like this nice, encounter or whatever. And then Zach was out fucking around with a stray dog, which you were like, they're probably doing it so you hate him less because he's like, we should rescue this dog. I'm like, where's the ghost at? What am I watching? But while he's gone, they have this encounter. And so he runs in and he's like, I want to be a part of this. Hey, ghost, I'm here. Did you close the door earlier? I was like, if I was a ghost, I would have just been like, well, I'm going to move on to the afterworld because I've seen you. I'm going to go towards the light now because fuck you. If you're what's left behind in my haunted space, I don't want to be here anymore.
He tries to use aggressive tactics to draw the spirits out, and it's just obnoxious. And then the replays, anytime they say they've captured something, the replay of them re-showing it is just, they do it like 20 times in a row,
Yes.
and you can never really hear anything. They'll be like, this is what the ghost is saying. And it's like, I'm here to kill you. But really, it's just like,
Yeah.
That's not at all what that sounds
basically
like. Where
just
did
heard-
you get that?
And he's like, they're saying, Zach, I want to, make contact with you. I can hear it clear as a bell. And the other people are like, oh yeah, we hear it too, man.
Yeah. I did watch several YouTube videos of lesser known ghost hunters going to the hotel, just breaking in and just walking around and shit. I mean, that's what you got to do. You're not supposed to go in there.
Apparently
And,
they used to do tours before the demolition started.
Yeah, well, this was probably like 2012, maybe even 2017. And I mean, I'm like, first of all, it's got to be crawling with rats. Second of all, what if like it's crumbling and stuff and there's glass everywhere? It just seems
Just a
dangerous.
beam,
Yeah,
something
something just
falling on you.
falls on you. But there's graffiti everywhere. So I'm sure teenagers and shit are in there all the time smoking weed and just having seances and whatnot.
It's sex.
And sex, doing the sex. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say having sex, but you're like having seances. You know how those teenagers do. Sex, seances, drugs, and rock and roll.
Well, Mark Rawlings, a restoration worker, told Ghost Adventures that he experienced eerie things while renovating the hotel, including bursts of cold air and doors slamming. Others report the hotel's former dining area, the Brazos Room, echoes with the clangs of silverware and the chattering voices of people through it, even though it's been abandoned and desolate since the early 1970s. That's a very Shining situation.
That's what it feels like. I think The Shining was so powerful because it did set up, it was like you talk about when bad things happen in the daylight. It's like something is in a state that it shouldn't be, right? So like a hotel ballroom should be full of people, but when it's empty, it's the eerie like silence of what should be and what once was.
Voices of the past.
Clinging. You've always been here, mister.
One of the hotel's more infamous ghosts can be attributed to none other than Mr. Baker, the hotel's owner. The business tycoon allegedly had a mistress by the name of Virginia, who had her own room up on the 7th floor. While living in the same building as your lover would allow for frequent rendezvous, it also meant Virginia was certain to see the man she loved carrying on with his wife. Virginia was supposedly so upset by the whole situation that she climbed to the roof of the 14-story hotel and leapt to her death. Others, however, say she was possibly pushed, perhaps to silence her about the affair.
That is a close call. I mean, imagine if you just pass each other in the elevator and Mrs. Baker's like, I know what you're doing with my husband.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but she's also like, well, we're rich and I get to live in this hotel.
It's true. There are some upsides. All the mineral water I can bathe in.
Virginia's room, a spacious suite on the southeast corner of the 7th floor of the hotel, is the site of many instances of paranormal activity. Rawlings told Ghost Adventures that he and his construction crew would smell the scent of her perfume in the room itself, as well as the adjacent bathroom.
That's one sign of a ghost nearby. Is
A
the
smell,
scent.
yeah. And a lot of ghost tours that have done tours there say that they will smell it and it'll get stronger if it's around certain men that are attractive that she might fancy.
She's flirting.
In the Ghost Adventures episode, the cameras allegedly capture footage of the door opening to Virginia's suite, a burst of cold air, and the scent of her perfume. The team used a meter and found spikes in energy that correlated with the cold spot. The crew also did a short EVP recording where they attempted to connect with Virginia. The recorded audio apparently said,
Water. Drink the water.
Later, night vision footage appears to show a white mist above the investigator's head. The investigators also allegedly encounter a dark shadow and a voice saying,
"Lost my kid."
Later, when the Ghost Adventures team investigated the basement, they encountered a child's voice shouting,
"Mama,"
or
"Mommy."
could this have been the lost child the other spirit was trying to find?
Again, the water, drink the water. He's like, listen to this. Listen to what it says. It says water, drink the water. Like, I don't know.
And it sounds like my kid's white noise machine that she uses every night.
The mama or mommy, though, I felt like you really could hear that. There was something, I mean.
Sometimes it does sound like it's saying that, but I always wonder, would I have picked that out if I wasn't being told this is what you should listen for?
Mm-hmm. And I can't remember what episode it was that we talked about it, but it's like that pareidolia.
Yes.
But where like your brain wants to make sense of a nonsense. And so when you hear nonsense, you're like, oh, it's totally saying Paul is dead when you play it backwards.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's just words backwards.
Yeah.
Except it was saying Paul is dead because he was dead. That's a whole nother episode.
Another ghostly legend stems from a lively party held on the hotel's 12th floor. According to the YouTube channel Zero Occupancy Urbex, after one too many cocktails, one female partygoer allegedly jumped from the balcony, thinking she would land in the Olympic-sized pool below. Unsurprisingly, she plummeted to the ground, and her attempt to become the life of the party resulted in her untimely death. Rumor has it that because no one at the hotel knew the guest, the staff had her body embalmed and placed in one of the hotel's front windows with the hope that a passerby would recognize her.
Oh, Joseph, look at that mannequin wearing that dress. It's so lovely. Could we go in and I could try it on? Oh, that's not a mannequin.
What a way to try and identify a victim.
Did you maybe want to take a photograph and make flyers? Could you have printed it on a poster?
They didn't say what year it was. When were cameras invented?
I don't know, early 1900s?
Okay, so we probably had cameras, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not like a, what do they call a lithograph?
Or at the very least, somebody
mimeograph.
had a pen and paper. We could draw the bitch.
There was cameras way the fuck back because my grandma, and I think it's in my mom's cedar chest. I need to find it because it's spooky as F. But my grandma had this book that was a photograph, like a photo album from way back when. And my grandma was born in 1916. And it was from like before she was born. And it was photos of funerals, and like it would be an open casket and people would stand next to it, or they would prop the body up in a chair and people would stand next to it because they're like, well, it's the only, back then there wasn't like 10,000 photos of somebody from their life. They're like, well, it's like the one time we're going to get a picture. We better get one before we bury him.
Oh, wow.
They're very eerie.
A family photo, but some of us have crossed over already.
Yep.
That is creepy. Ooh, I hope you can find that.
And
That's
back
wild.
in the day, you had to like sit really still. And I mean, that's one party member who's not going to move at all.
That's true. That's true.
They're not going to mess up the photo.
The baker was no stranger to sordid love affairs that ended tragically. As the tale goes, the cook of the hotel was having an affair with a maid who also worked at the baker. After a particularly heated lover's quarrel in which the maid threatened to tell the cook's wife about their relationship, the cook grabbed a kitchen knife and stabbed his mistress to death. Legend has it he then stuffed her bloodied body into one of the kitchen's pantries and then went on about his day.
I think that's two spirits right there. Probably the woman whose untimely death and maybe his like regret or a rage spirit left.
That's true.
Left in the hotel.
While many old hotels claim to be haunted, the baker may have had extra help in attracting spirits. Susan Bove, one of the founders of the Gloucester City-based South Jersey Paranormal Research, told USA Today that
water is a great conductor of energy, so if water runs under the house, it's probably a very active house.
Similarly, Jason Hawes, co-founder of the Atlantic Paranormal Society, or TAPS, and star of Ghost Hunters on Sci-Fi, told the Huffington Post,
one thing we have found is you find more paranormal activity around flowing streams of water, railroad tracks, and places with high limestone deposits.
Mineral wells in the Baker Hotel have all three. So it's just a little hot. It's a little conduit, a hot spot.
You don't realize water is, I mean, I guess nowadays because we have electricity coming out of the wall, but back in the day, they would use the rushing water and you put like the wheel to
paddle
the
boats?
energy. Yeah, paddle boats, and the wheel would like run the gristle mill and things like that. And and there's some Polynesia, in French Polynesia, where they've put these turbines under the water in the ocean, and it's like underwater turbines that the ocean current moves, and that powers them.
That's
so
smart.
You you don't realize water is very conductive. I mean, I guess if you stand in it and hold some electricity, you realize it very quickly. But
yeah, sadly, that'll be the last thing you realize usually.
You know.
Additionally, Karen Frazier, a paranormal investigator in Washington State, told Collectors Weekly that
some objects have some kind of energy, an energy attached to them that manifests as what you would call a haunting.
Perhaps the running waters beneath the hotel, the mineral deposits, and the rush of people inhabiting its 450 rooms throughout its glory days has left the Baker Hotel buzzing with energy, the remaining spirits that once walked its halls. A local psychic, who wishes to remain anonymous for fear of small-town retribution, told Texas Escapes that during her time managing a shop at the hotel in the 1980s, she encountered numerous spirits. One in particular was the ghost of a 6-year-old boy who was staying at the hotel while his parents sought medical treatment for his leukemia. Sadly, the boy passed at the Baker before he could get the help he needed. The psychic told Texas Escapes that the child liked to bounce a toy ball to get her attention and was always seen walking the halls with a large, shaggy dog, and that
he was watched by an unknown older woman who was always near him.
That ball bouncing thing.
That's happened to me.
You had a ball bounce?
At my high school boyfriend's house. I was alone. I don't know where he may have been asleep or he was in another room, but his family was not there. And I heard the ball bounce and I thought, that's so weird. And I looked around, and when I said something to him, he was like, yeah, that happens here. Their house was super haunted.
That's the one where you saw the guy?
Yeah, the guy in the doorway.
What I want to know, and what the article didn't say, was the shaggy dog a real dog or a ghost dog? Because it didn't clarify.
Ghost dog.
I hope it's the ghost dog.
Next year, this fall on Disney Plus. Ghost dog. But I do think that there's probably forlorn or sad spirits because a lot of people came there with hope, right? They thought, this water is going to cure our kid. We're so excited. All we need to do is hold on to hope and hold on to hope.
Yeah.
And so if he dies and then they die, it's no wonder that they would, hold on to that really, really strong feeling of love and hope that would keep you anchored to a place.
Yep.
Also, what retribution?
What? Oh, yeah.
They said she's going to suffer retribution.
Well, the guy who wrote this article in Texas Escapes was like, I completely understand. Because I guess mineral wells don't take kindly to psychics. They're, not, they don't want any of that hippie, mystical bullshit going on in their town. On the other town, they've got a hotel dedicated to mineral water that can cure everyone. Yeah.
Don't sell your bullshit here, but would you like to buy a bottle of this magic water?
Interestingly, the psychic also says that most of the ghosts that roam the building didn't die at the hotel, but rather returned there in their afterlife, as the Baker represented a glorious and happy time in their life. One spirit that falls into this category is that of a helicopter pilot who had attended flight training at the nearby Fort Walters in the 1960s. Years later, the pilot was killed in a helicopter crash miles away at Fort Rucker, Alabama. The pilot must have had fond memories of his days in Mineral Wells as he returned to the Baker to live out his afterlife. Sadly, the psychic told Texas Escapes that when she encountered the pilot, he did not appear as his former healthy self, but instead his body looked exactly as it had when he died in the crash.
That's some Sixth Sense shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that movie.
So scary.
That is one of the scariest movies I've seen.
It still scares me to even think about it.
Same. I get creepy. I remember I watched that. My best friend from high school, we were not in high school, but we were in college, but she was staying over. I guess we were all in town for something because I was at my parents' house and she was staying over, and she had fallen asleep and we were watching it. And it was the scene where he's under the comforter and then the little girl, you know what I'm talking about? And the little girl of pills, it's the one that her mom's, it's the whole Munchausen thing.
Yes.
And I screamed
with
so
like
loud.
Blah, blah.
Yes. I screamed so loud and like jumped and I woke her up. It was so, and when he's walking through in the school and the people are hanging from the, That
Yes.
creeped me out.
I
I
just
gotta
got chills.
rewatch that because I've only seen it, I think, once. I gotta rewatch that and see if it's still scary and holds up.
I watched it like way back when it came out, and then at my sister's wedding in 2010 in
Very
the
romantic movie.
yes in the hotel room. I don't know. It must have been the day before or the day after. You know, she did like a destination wedding. I was in the room and I watched it. And I was like, oh god, this did not put me in a great headspace to like celebrate a wedding.
Right. I gotta rewatch that. I also didn't figure it out until I figured it out about 20 minutes before it was over, and I was just like so impressed by the whole thing. It
It's
hadn't
so
been
good.
spoiled for me. Yeah, it was really good.
I saw it before it got spoiled.
Yeah.
Which is lucky.
Yes. Well, in October of 2000, 2 Texas paranormal research teams set out to conduct their own investigations of the Behemoth Hotel. Dusty Rainbolt of DFW Ghost Watchers claims to have captured hundreds of pictures of orbs and several apparitions of
Ectomist.
A psychic who was also on the ghost hunt claims to have seen an old woman in a wheelchair in the 14th floor ballroom who repeatedly cried,
I can't do it. I can't do it. First of all, Ectomist would drink. 10 out of 10. Sounds delicious.
I want the number 4 Ectomist.
High C Ecto Cooler sounds so good and is so good, and Ectomist sounds like the LaCroix version of that. Like
That's
it's a
true.
fizzy.
That's true.
Oh, I would totally.
Also,
man.
Dusty Rainbolt, fuck yeah.
Perfect. Perfect name.
I'm Dusty
Couldn't be better
Rainbow.
name.
I'm Dusty Rainbow. There's a lot of things you can drink. I drink Ectomist.
Although the Baker has sat empty since the 1970s, throughout the years there have been many failed renovation attempts. While none of these have taken, insightful business people continue to investigate the possibility of restoring the Baker to its former renown, and the town of Mineral Wells could certainly use the boost. According to WFAA ABC, the town lost 10% of its population over the past decade, and 24% of the town lives below the poverty line. A reinvigorated downtown, anchored by a luxurious hotel, would infuse the once destination hotspot with jobs and out-of-town visitors.
It sounds like a good investment, especially now because I think people are, you know, into healing and healthy and, you know, drinking water and stuff like that.
In 2019, Chad Patton, a real estate developer, made plans for a $65 million renovation to the hotel. The first year tackled demolition, with the next 2 years planned for rebuilding. If all goes according to plan, the new glorious hotel should open in 2022. Locals of the town who have been doing their part to keep their beloved Mineral Wells up and running by creating restaurants, shops, and a vibrant downtown are encouraged at the infusion of investment. But not everyone is so happy about the reopening. When the Ghost Adventures crew asked a spirit on EVP if it was happy that the Baker may reopen, a disembodied voice apparently said, "No." Well,
Damn.
then I think you pull the plug on it.
$65 million. Flush it. Shut it down. First, it's going to be haunted. Fuck it. Let's leave. Let's go.
It definitely will. I think you got to lean in. That's a selling
Yeah.
point. You can't pull an Adolphus and rebrand and
And try to
decide
lie.
not to talk about it anymore.
No.
Because people love this about this hotel.
I think it's
a
part
draw.
of it's part of the charm, and you're not going to be able to get rid of it because I think the history's there. They're keeping a lot of the bones of the hotel, and because of the water that runs under it.
Yeah.
You know, the water is the energy. It's not going anywhere.
So what do we think? We're going to go for sure.
First of all, cannot wait. We're definitely going to do a crazy water taste test.
Yes, for sure. As soon as we can leave our houses, get out to a grocery store. Also, I imagine this thing has put a little bit of a stop on this construction.
I'm sure they're probably not
going
working
to
right now.
push back a bit now.
Yeah,
So,
which is, I mean, that's understandable. But
yeah.
I think they're on a long enough timeline. You know, they still got another, year or so, 2 years. So
Yeah. Well, I am super pumped for when we can go and do a little staycation.
I think so. And the Mineral Wells, that was part of some of the interviews about them coming in and redoing the hotel and saying, we're here to fix the town. The people that live there and have created these businesses and shops and everything were basically like, the town is fine. We already live here. It's fine. But I think it will bring more. I mean, why wouldn't you want people coming to do staycations, coming to stay at the hotel, and then shopping at your shops, going to your restaurants? It's good for everybody. They're not saving the day, but I think they're probably putting a ton of money in your pocket.
Once again, it's this big dick Dallasite coming in trying to take over their town.
By the way,
and they're like, we got this.
Big Dick Dalicite, best nickname.
BDD. Hashtag BDD.
I'm a Big Dick Dalicite. You know how it is. I like to roll in and fix things.
Well, let us know if you guys have been to the Baker Hotel, if you're local, or if you have tried this crazy water.
Yeah, if you're a prolific drinker of the chunky water.
Is it chunky?
No, it's not. It's not.
You just are saying you're
I'm just
okay.
saying it. Because, it's definitely, like video, like YouTube taste tests and stuff. People are like, yeah, it's kind of earthy. I mean, it has the especially the 3 and the 4, it's noticeed. The amount of minerals is noticeable.
I imagine it tastes very coppery, kind of like a penny or something.
Maybe middle. Yeah, like my fillings are going to get fired up.
Make your teeth that makes my teeth hurt just thinking about it. Well, I'm going to try 1 through 4. And
we're
then
going to try all of them.
And then we're going to pitch our Mambo number 5 crossover marketing to them. They definitely need to take this up on that.
Crazy Water number 5 is 1 and a 4 mixed.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Done and done.
Yeah.
Or it's a number 4 water with just straight up a handful of dirt and put in it. You got to drink it through a straw.
Well, we love providing Sinisterhood to you at no cost. So if you like what you hear, consider supporting the show by donating to our Patreon. We are a small operation, creating the show for you by researching, writing, recording, and producing it ourselves. Any amount is sincerely appreciated and helps offset the cost of making and hosting the show.
As a thank you, you'll also get some sweet perks like a Sinisterhood sticker, membership to our exclusive Patreon Facebook group for those in the Ruling the Airwaves tier, a special shout out on the show, a monthly bonus minisode, and Patreon exclusive video and audio content like our weekly mix bags, where we share 3 of our favorite things of the past week. For more details on specific member tiers, visit Sinisterhood.com and click Patreon in the top right corner to join today.
And make sure you stick around after our sign-offs to hear your shout-out.
So many of you have been tagging us in pictures of you sporting your sweet Sinisterhood merch. Keep those pictures coming. If you want to get some cool Sinisterhood swag like t-shirts, mugs, totes, and even clothes for your kiddos, visit Sinisterhood.com and click on Shop in the top right corner.
The best thing you can do to help us grow is like, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast. And please tell a friend who you think would like us to check us out. It means so much to us and really helps small podcasts like us get more exposure.
You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at SinisterhoodPod and like us on Facebook at Sinisterhood. Christy, where are you at?
I am on Twitter at Christy or GTFO and on Instagram at Christy M. Wallace. Heather?
I am on Instagram at Heather vs. the World and on Twitter at MCK vs. the World.
As always, the devil rules the airwaves.
Keep it creepy. Hey everybody, thank you so much for supporting the show on Patreon. Here are your special Patreon shoutouts. Kelsey Gilbert,
Beverly Wason,
Maddie Conlon,
A. Steigers,
Joanne Parlett,
Shannon Blackwell,
Brittany Davis,
Kelly Tate,
Carrie Facemeyer,
Suwana Blakey,
Kayla Ling,
Jody Baker,
Marissa Douglas,
Cassandra Scarcliffe,
Rochelle Ireson,
Angela Freeman,
Miriam Gilman,
Samantha Gomez,
Beth Duncan,
Annemie Hansen,
Cherry Sun,
Wendy French,
Sindel,
and Mandy Rivas.
Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. We couldn't do it without you.
Thank you guys so much. Keep it creepy.
Wahaha.